I'm
Hey,
I'm always on time. Don't you worry.
I am impressed.
I'm
What's up,
always on time.
Dansby?
How you doing?
I am good. Everybody, please welcome Dansby Swanson from the Atlanta Braves into my Wellness check-in for a Monday. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
excited.
How you doing?
I'm good. I don't know if you can see, but I got my Brave shirt
Oh,
on.
I saw. Well, I was waiting on the
Let me
request to
back
pop
up a
up. I
little
saw.
bit. You know, me and you, we rep the A hard. So
Always, always.
how you doing though, my brother? I wanted to offer my condolences again on the loss of your grandmother.
Mhm.
And so definitely been praying for you and your family. Tell me how you guys are doing. And I'm sure it was probably hard even just processing the loss of a loved one during this pandemic. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously never easy.
Yeah.
Her and my grandfather both have been in assisted living for a little while now, so she's kind of been on the steady decline. So we kind of, it's one of those things like you kind of know it's coming at some point,
Hmm.
but it doesn't make it really any easier, or it makes it maybe just a little bit.
Right.
Kind of having it not being too big of a surprise, but um, it's definitely tough, especially right now. You can't really embrace, your loved ones and the people around you just because of the pandemic and everything. So
Hmm.
that makes it tough, especially some of my parents. Like they just want to love on their kids and stuff, and we want to do
Yeah.
the same, but you can't. And the other thing too, just we couldn't have memorial service or anything because of all the shelter and home stuff. So
Mhm.
that'll have to wait till the end. But so able to get some closure, and be able to go over there and get not access in the building, but be able to get some type of access and be able to talk to my grandfather and stuff. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's not easy, but my girlfriend's here, so it's been easier having her here and being able to kind of share and be with each other and those kinds of things. So
I'm glad you guys are there for one another. And I certainly understand having a loved one in an assisted living facility. My mother
mhm.
is actually 88 and she has Alzheimer's. And so she is in a facility in the Carolinas. And I'm just grateful that the caregivers there purchased iPads so that we could, and they're holding it. My mom wouldn't know what to
Right,
do
right.
with the FaceTime, but they're holding it for them. So if you guys have family members that are in assisted living facilities, definitely reach out to the facility if it's in a different state and ask them if you can FaceTime with your loved ones, because
hmm
it's certainly hard, I'm sure, on them trying to get through this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough on everybody, especially, I mean, it's almost like they don't really quite understand what's going on either. So I think that makes it tough too, is because you can
Mhm.
remind them and tell them, and they think that they're just being held hostage. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
But they just can't really grasp the situation. It's just like the same dealing with like not being able to see my nephews and stuff because they're so young that they don't understand.
Yeah.
Like no, you can't just run and jump on your uncle. Like you have to stay back. It's kind of a situation you just almost have to avoid in general, which is it's tough, but we'll get through it. That's what we always do.
Right.
That's what we're meant to do. So we will.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, my hearts and prayers go out to anyone that have lost their lives or family members that have been affected by COVID-19. And we know that a lot of people are having their own personal struggles. And I'm sure the stress level has been up for a lot of athletes, no matter if you play baseball or football or basketball or hockey or soccer. Um, have you talked to any of your teammates and how surreal has it been having to delay the start of the season? Because I'm sure obviously we want to be safe first and foremost. That's
hmm
all that matters. We want to make sure the teams are safe, everyone that works at the arena, the employees. But at the end of the day, as a player, I'm sure it's still a little surreal, and stressful to a certain degree that you can't be out there doing what you love.
Yeah, it's so I keep in touch with my teammates. We'll text here and there, maybe catch them on a phone call every so often. Uh, it's just different because I think the biggest thing that people don't necessarily realize is right now we're used to playing. We're used to have built up, through spring training, getting
Hmm.
into our season and being on go. We pretty much play every day. Most people don't understand that we play
Yeah.
every day. And even if, we're traveling late one night, we still play the next day. We get pretty much around 18 off days in 6 months, so it's,
Is that it?
yeah, we play
Ooh,
162 games over a course of 6 months.
wow.
So people don't necessarily understand, that grind. And so when your body at this time of the year is so accustomed to be doing stuff, going nonstop, and all of a sudden that's thrown off, it's hard for your body to really understand, because it almost has a mind of its own, and there's times where throughout the day where not only I'll be like anxious or stressed or something like that, but your body just doesn't necessarily feel right. And you kind of
Mhm.
get a little worried because you're like, oh my gosh, am I sick? But you're
Yeah.
not. It's just your body is so accustomed to being in a certain rhythm and routine
Yeah.
that now all of a sudden it's not there anymore. And so having to cope through that is stressful in itself.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's just something you got to work through. I'm a
Hmm.
big believer in taking some time to self-reflect and understand different things of my routine or my rhythm, or just in my personality that I want to grow in. And right
Hmm.
now is really that perfect time to do that, because we have time. We have
Yeah.
the ability for the whole world is pretty much stopped and slowed down
Hmm.
to really be conscious of things that we're doing and things that we need to avoid, or all those kinds of things. So I've been trying to do that as best I can,
Hmm.
and grow in different areas. I think for me the biggest thing is admitting to myself that this is how it is. Like
Yeah.
you have to be able to admit the situation that we're in to be able to take that first step of going forward, because
That's
you
right.
can't just lie to yourself, and say, oh, I can't wait till it gets back. It's like, yes, I understand that, but at the same time, this is your new normal. So let's really embrace that and come out of this better than how we went in.
Absolutely. Are you doing any at home workouts or anything? Like,
So we got sent back from spring training. I guess I drove back on a Saturday um, in March. I forget which day, but
mhm.
um, that Sunday, I had talked to my trainer that I use that builds a lot of my programs. He's actually the head strength guy at Vandy for the baseball
Okay.
team, and I've used him for the last 5 years or so, and he's always been so great for me. And we were able to put together a list of a bunch of things that I needed to buy. So I was really quick on it
Oh,
to be able to
good.
order a bunch of different weights and weight vests and just different things that I could have to set up in the garage that wouldn't necessarily take up a ton of space, but I could still get all of my stuff done. So being very proactive on that has helped a lot, because I've been able to still work out 3 times a week, and kind of takes you back to like humble beginnings a little bit, working out on the cold concrete in the garage,
Yep.
um, and being able to do that. So I've still been able to stay up to date on that. I've gotten creative as far as how I can get some baseball stuff done, because it's not like there's any places open that you can go and
Right.
do things. So I've gotten creative on some stuff, and yeah, it's been kind of fun. There's days, kind of like today, where it's a little slow, where you're kind of
Hmm.
like, man, I just really don't care to do too much, or like, man, my body is just not feeling too good right now.
And it's
But
okay to give your body that break, right?
correct.
I think with, like you were mentioning earlier, we have all this time on our hands, and it's the perfect time to like recognize your feelings,
Hmm.
whether it's physical feelings or mental feelings. And that kind of leads me into my next question. As you know, I founded and run my own mental health nonprofit, Silence the Shame. And so many people have been getting antsy and experiencing anxiety and some, high levels of stress if they have like full households of kids and they got to homeschool and all that. Can you just talk a little bit more about the importance of taking care of your mental health during this pandemic? Because I tell people, even if you don't have, serious mental health challenges, I think this is the type of situation where we all can like, experience, high levels of anxiety and may not even know how to recognize it. And like April is stress awareness month. So, a lot of people are dealing with stress. So can you just
Uh,
talk a little bit about
well,
how?
I mean, I think everybody should understand that we all deal with something, and I think we kind of created this world where we want to do the just do and whatever makes you happy and just be happy. Well, I'm a firm believer that that's not really the way to go, because I think that when we're only focusing on doing what makes us happy, I really feel like we miss out on like a full wholeness, like a whole spectrum life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really think that, if we only are doing one set of things, that make us happy, then we're not really living up our full potential and everything. Because
Yeah.
like how I equate it is, getting up early and doing workouts doesn't always make me happy, but I
Right.
understand that, putting in the work and effort will lead me to where I want to be. So first things first is, I mean, understanding that dealing with the stress and dealing with the anxieties is all normal. Like that is a very normal thing that everybody deals with. We all have different ways to kind of get rid of the stress, and we have different ways to alleviate the anxiety, and that's okay. Like we all have our own ways in which we want to do that. Some people, meditate. Some people it's counseling. Some people it's using a therapist. Some people it's going on a walk, going on a hike. Like for me, it's going and playing basketball. Like shooting around or whatever by myself. Like that's a good mental break for me. So there's absolutely no shame in like releasing anxiety and admitting to yourself that you're stressed out. I think the most that not only is that important, but it's really, really important to understand what to do, like what's your next step, moving past that. And like I said, now's the perfect time to experiment with like, okay, maybe each morning when I get up, I'm not going to be on my phone. Like while I have my breakfast, I'm going to spend some time, either reflecting or meditating. Or for me, I've really tried to dive into reading parts of scripture every morning, and like really kind of, diving into some things instead of just reading it, trying to understand more, and that's been really good for me. Luckily, like I said, Mal is here, so I've been able to spend time with her, and for us to be able to talk through things or bounce things off of each other, or kind of like, hey, when I deal with stress, I don't sleep well, and I that makes it almost even worse because I'm not getting the necessary sleep I need. So,
Right.
some of the days can kind of be a drag, or it can kind of be tougher on me, but openly communicating that and being like, hey, I haven't been sleeping good, so I just need you to like bear with me for a couple of
But see,
days. And
that's so important, not to cut
right.
you off, but the fact that you are communicating with your mate and your partner, and oftentimes we see people where they're either afraid or ashamed to talk to their mate or their partner about it. So kudos to you for sharing with your girl.
I think it's important because I think that creates more stress when you don't, because then the relationship doesn't necessarily work as fluid as before, and then you start getting more and more and more off sidetracked. So being able to kind of recognize it early and put some emphasis on like, hey, I'm not sleeping good, like I'm trying to do the things that I need to do to be able to sleep better, but we just kind of work through it until that stress and stuff can die down.
Right.
Like I said, I would recommend everybody to really find the things that work for you, because something I have a therapist that I talk to, and for me one of the biggest things is understanding like to understand myself better is like my foundations and the things that I need to be doing each day, like my daily practices, basically, like whether it's reading, writing, journaling, meditation, scripturing, whatever it is, like even listening to podcasts or things that are going to help challenge my growth. When I am focused and doing those things, and then I tend to be more on track with myself. And then when I feel off, it's easy for me to go back and say, okay, well, no wonder why I feel off. I haven't been doing A, B, and C, or I haven't been doing the things that have helped me in the past. So it's a good way to kind of check yourself and like kind of self-discipline, self-regulate, all those kinds of things, especially right now, because that normal routine is no longer there. So it's like, what are we using to fill our time?
I gotta tell you, Dansby, I'm so proud of you. Like, I think I've known you now for like maybe 3 years, and shout out to Adrian Williams from the Braves, because I think that's how we first connected.
Yeah, yep.
And I've done some stuff with the Braves in the past, and just learning that you are from Atlanta just made me really proud. And I know you wear your A on your chest.
Always,
like,
always.
You are like the ultimate ATLian,
I love
and
it.
I love that about you.
I love it. This place literally is. It's given me so much. Like how I always tell people is, Atlanta kind of laid my foundation for who I am, my beliefs, my morals. I had great family, great friends. I've been surrounded with great people my whole life, and I credit a lot of that to Atlanta. And that kind of gave me the foundation to move forward. And then when I went to Nashville for college, that kind of helped mold and shape those things. It helped like refine all of that. And then now coming back here, it's kind of allowed me to pour that back into the community, but also like continuing to shape myself to be who I want to be, and I think that that's a big thing. If I'm not becoming who I'm meant to be, then that's kind of, I guess, taken away from everybody else because they're not necessarily getting my full gift. And so I always try and tell people like, your job is to become not only your best self, but to really understand who you're supposed to be. And then once you can do that, you can kind of give everybody else what you've been blessed with as well. So
no doubt, no doubt. The Atlanta Braves and MLB should definitely be proud to have you. I know I grew up going to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium to the games, then
yep.
Thomas Hill, SunTrust Park, and now Truist. And
Uh-huh.
looking forward to, going to plenty more games. And we know that the Braves last year were the National League East champs.
Yep.
We were really excited about that. And given that you're from the A, I saw, your dance moves on IG and all of that. Like,
Got a little bit
tell
of
me
rhythm.
about that. Like, I need to know, like, what
I got
moves you got?
I got a little bit of rhythm. I understand how to move back and forth to a beat. That's pretty much the extent of my dancing. That's how it goes. I've literally grown up listening to rap music since I was like 7. That's
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say like I don't listen to country or anything else, but it's about 95% rap or R&B. Uh, just because my brother's 9 years older than me. So when
Okay.
I was a little kid, he was in high school, and when he was in high school, it was like peak like Outkast, Ludacris,
Mm-hmm.
Ti, Jeezy, all those guys.
Oh,
And so
boys.
yeah, I that's what I grew up kind of listening to,
Mm-hmm.
and really like resonating with. Just something about it captivated me. I can't sit here and say, what it was, and then it's just amazing to see how much it's evolved and how, like the Atlanta rap game has changed, but it's always stayed on the top. You know what I mean? Just from
Mm-hmm.
just the evolution of the different artists and stuff like that, and you just got the new generation of the Young Thug and Gunna and Baby and all those guys, and Future, and you just kind of see like the evolution of it, but it still remains like at the top. I've always admired it and always will. So
Yeah, I agree. And it's nice that like during the quarantine, you see people like Lil Jon DJing and Jermaine
hmm
DJing.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So yeah, it's been really good. Atlanta's definitely a special place, and we are grateful to have you in this city. Two quick things, and then we'll be done.
hmm
So this new platform that I started, which you're on today, Yeah Wellness, it's all to me about mind, body, and soul, but also business, right? Because when one of those things are off, it can affect your emotional health and wellness. And so I
hmm
know it's, a lot of people are struggling financially right now too, especially people that are either entrepreneurs or maybe have side hustles going on. And I love your merchandise brand, All Things Loyal.
uh-huh
And I can't wait to cop my Be Your Best Self t-shirt
oh yeah.
or the Good Energy hoodie.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be ordering that this week. Can you give us any tips for wellness, for financial wellness rather, for entrepreneurs or people with side hustles, things they can be doing during this pandemic?
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna sit here and be like I'm the best business person or entrepreneur. I feel like
And it's
I
just,
feel
I just want,
like I have
yeah,
decent ideas, but I
yeah.
think I think at the end of the day, right now is really a time to just how we were talking about being able to kind of self-reflect about your own personal self is a good time to really analyze and diagnose your whatever little business that you have or um, side hustle, because once this thing ends, which it will, at some point this is going to end, how you can kind of hit the ground running again, because pretty much anybody and everybody, financially speaking, is having somewhat of trouble. Like, I mean, I'm not really, I'm not getting the same paychecks that I would be during the season either. So
Right.
I'm not here to downplay any type of financial stuff or the situation that I'm in, but everybody's hurting from it. We've all lost money, whether it's in the stock market or not being able to go to work anymore, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's our job to kind of battle through that and kind of be not farsighted, but being able to kind of look and say, okay, what can I start building now that once, in a couple months or 3 months or 4 months, whenever it is, when all this is over and the normal life comes back, how I can hit the ground running again.
Yeah.
Um, and it's allowed us at All Things Loyal to really gather, our thoughts and really be able to kind of gain some momentum, because we've been able to plan out things better. I've been able to be more involved because I don't have anything else going on. Really been able to dive in and put some more heart and soul into it than I already was. Luckily, I got some other friends that have been running it, especially during the season and everything, that they've done a great job of being able to kind of continue to build and maintain things, and really be able to push as much positivity as possible, because ultimately that's not only do we need that right now, but I feel like we just always need that,
Mm-hmm.
and to be reminded that whether things are good or bad, that there's better things ahead. So
That's right.
yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun for me to pour in my mind and energy into something else other than just baseball,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't really do that right now. So
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I know some people are just kind of dealing in the moment, and you have your good days and your bad days. And
hmm
the tip that I will give you is, I think the tip for today is be in the moment, right?
right.
And then also set some realistic goals for yourself, because you may not feel like, running the side business or planning, but you got to utilize some of the time. And I think if we set like realistic goals for ourselves, then
hmm
by the time we get to Friday, you'll feel like you accomplished something.
Correct.
Because so many of us have other hidden talents that I think are untapped, or, with our careers that we never really had time to deal with. Like, I know when I worked in music, similar to you, I was going nonstop all the time, constantly on the road, going to shows and concerts. And I never really did anything else outside of music that I loved, even though I had some other passions. So now that I'm working on my own, I'm trying to create some different revenue streams for myself. And, we've all heard that like a lot of the billionaires have at least 7 revenue streams,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
utilize this time, utilize technology. I think
Correct.
there's a lot we can learn and do.
Absolutely. There's so much to be learned right now and so much to take advantage of, because I don't know if this is for everybody because I'm the competitive type, but
Okay.
right now there's plenty. If you're not doing things, there are plenty of other people that are,
Yeah.
and so it's, do you want to stay ahead, or do you want to get behind? And I always like
Facts.
being ahead.
Facts. I love
So,
that. Okay, final question. Favorite artist, or give me a song or something we can listen to this weekend, or this week rather, to either relax or to turn up.
uh, so right now I would say pretty much it's Lil Baby on repeat. That's kind of whenever Baby comes out with some stuff, I'm always on it, and
Okay.
so I'd say him for sure. I love his new album. I think he's dropping a deluxe version of it soon, so I'm going to be listening to that too. But I
Nice.
listen to a lot of Lil Baby, and then I definitely have my throwback days throughout the week where I'll listen to some Jeezy, or old Luda or Ti or whatever it
Yeah,
may be. But
I
yeah,
love it.
I'm always big on Lil Baby right now.
Nice. I love him too. And shout out to Jeezy. He just got engaged. And
Oh yeah, that's
Ludacris
right.
and Ludacris will actually be on Yeah Wellness on Friday. So
Dope,
you
dope.
gotta tune in if you can on Friday. Have
Yeah,
you
I
and your
will.
girl done any TikToks?
We each don't have an account,
Oh,
but
okay.
one of our really good friends, she's like kind of in our like quarantine family basically.
Yeah.
And when she comes over, she's got one, and we tend to do
Nice.
kind of like one a week or whatever. But
Okay.
we've had some funny content ideas that I'll be throwing out soon, so just stay
Nice.
tuned. We got
We certainly will. Well,
yeah.
I look forward to partnering with you, and maybe some other collaborations that we can do with some
hmm
other artists in Atlanta and different things. But I love your spirit. I appreciate everything that you represent
I
for
appreciate
Atlanta,
it.
but also for the Atlanta Braves. And I cannot wait to get back to Truist Park
I know, me too.
to get me a can of beer or a soda and some peanuts
I
and have a
feel you.
good time.
I feel you. All right.
All
Well,
right. Thank
I
you so
appreciate you
much.
having me on. Yeah, this was fun.
This was dope. All right. Take care.
Thanks, Shanti. Have a good one.
All right. You too.
Bye.